Los Angeles authorities have found the cause of Tiger Woods' car crash but would not reveal the details to the public until the golf star gives permission. According to the Associated Press, Sheriff Alex Villanueva on Wednesday said the information would not be released due to privacy concerns. A cause has been determined, the investigation has concluded, Villanueva said during a live social media event, as cited by the AP. The sheriff said Woods would have to give permission to release the findings. "We have reached out to Tiger Woods and his personnel," Villanueva said, as cited by the AP. "There's some privacy issues on releasing information on the investigation, so we're going to ask them if they waive the privacy, and then we will be able to do a full release on all the information regarding the accident." The golf legend, Tiger Woods, was driving, on February 23, when his Genesis SUV hit a "Welcome to Rolling Hills Estates" sign, outside Los Angeles, traveled more than 150 feet after crossing a center divider and crossed through two oncoming lanes and uprooted a tree on a downhill stretch that police said is known for wrecks. Woods, 45, suffered multiple serious leg injuries that included open fractures to his tibia and fibula, injuries to the bones of the foot after crashing his car in Southern California. He told officers at that time that he did not remember driving and how the crash occurred. When a witness first approached the mangled SUV, he was found unconscious, but a sheriff's deputy said the athlete appeared to be in shock and was able to answer basic questions. Villanueva raised some eyebrows in the immediate aftermath of Woods' crash when he quickly dismissed the incident as purely an accident and said there was no evidence of impairment. Woods' blood was not screened for drugs and alcohol. The sheriff also said he did not believe there would be any criminal charges filed in the matter. "We have all the contents of the black box, we've got everything. It's completed, signed, sealed, and delivered," Villanueva said during a Facebook Live on Wednesday. "However, we can't release it without the permission of the people involved in the collision." Villanueva added that his department had reached out to Woods in order to waive some privacy issues. "We don't contemplate any charges whatsoever in this crash," Villanueva said in a previous Facebook Live chat. "This remains an accident. An accident is not a crime. They do happen, unfortunately." The sheriff's department posted a message on Twitter saying that the release of such reports falls under California's vehicle code. "When we are able, we intend to release the information learned during the traffic collision investigation that involved Woods," the tweet stated. The 15-time major winning champion is recovering from his injuries in his residential state of Florida. Joseph Giacalone, a professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice and a retired New York City Police Department sergeant, said, "I don't think I've ever seen a department ever ask for permission like that," he said. "What happens if his lawyers say no, you can't send it out now? And then where does that leave us?" President Joe Biden named Amazon's failure to pay federal income tax during a speech outlining his new infrastructure spending plan. He cited a 2019 analysis underscoring 91 Fortune 500 companies, including Amazon, that failed to pay federal income tax in 2018 while not mentioning any other companies. Biden noted that companies use various loopholes so they pay not a single solitary penny in federal income tax. He later added, "I'm going to put an end to that." Biden quoted the corporate tax proposals in his American Jobs Plan, which include placing the corporate tax rate at 28%, up from 21%, and increasing the global minimum tax on U.S. multinational corporations to 21%. Elected officials, activists, and academics regularly take aim at Amazon for allegedly paying nothing in federal income taxes. Researchers and journalists came to that decision by analyzing the tax deferrals and credits Amazon is entitled for. CNBC stated Amazon paid $0 in federal income taxes in 2018 and received a $129 million tax rebate from the federal government. Amazon last year disclosed for the first time particulars about its U.S. taxes. Its federal income tax expense for 2019 was more than $1 billion, in addition to more than $2 billion in other types of federal taxes. Federal tax laws consented the company to defer payment of the bill. Amazon was able to pay $900 million of its 2019 federal income tax expense over time due to deferrals for which the company is eligible. In February, Amazon reported that its 2020 tax contributions included about $1.7 billion in federal income tax expense, and $1.8 billion in other federal taxes such as payroll taxes and customs duties. It also reported more than $2.6 billion in state and local taxes. Amazon reported a revenue of $386 billion last year and operating income of $22.9 billion, enhanced by a pandemic-driven surge as customers depend on its online shopping and cloud computing services. Senator Elizabeth Warren took Amazon to task over taxes, prompting a response from Jay Carney, Amazon's SVP of Global Corporate Affairs, who was previously press secretary for President Obama and was communications director for Biden. His reaction is part of the hardline stance taken of late by Amazon over high-profile concerns such as the unionization move in Alabama. Britain has pushed G7 allies to come down hard on China over pernicious practices that are currently jeopardizing the international trading system. British Trade Minister Liz Truss and her G7 co-equals, including the new chairman of WTO, are set to manage Britain's prosperous country's platform as president to encourage post-Brexit Britain as a leading free trade supporter. As Britain is looking to increase its economic profits through global trading since leaving the EU, it has called on an overhaul of WTO rules, arguing that it has become obsolete and unprofitable. Additionally, Britain and WTO members have stated that China is taking advantage of an outdated system that no longer reflects its standing as an economic superpower. Addressing the meeting, Truss said, "This is the time to get tough on China and their behavior in the global trading system, but also modernize the WTO. In many ways, it's stuck in the 1990s. Since leaving the European Union and pinning its economic future on global trade, Britain has criticized China's trade practices. People cannot believe in free trade if it is not fair," Truss said. She added that public trust has been corrupted by pernicious practices, from the use of forced labor to environmental degradation and the stealing of intellectual property. But the bitter rows between London and Beijing over reforms to the governance of the former British colony Hong Kong have only led to tit-for-tat sanctions, with China denying all of Britain's accusations. It's true that many Western nations fear that they may lose their grip on control of the post-World War II international order to China. Therefore, it is imperative that WTO be reformed, else countries are bound to make other trade agreements. Fundamentally, our like-minded democracies need to win the battle for the soul of global trade, making sure the WTO works for people across the world, Truss said. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden and other G7 members have agreed to reform the WTO and look into the need to stave off Communist China's global dominance intentions and find a solution that suits everyone. According to a current strategic review, British foreign policy needs to operate well in the Indo-Pacific, as Communist China's totalitarian control as the country's commercial strength is the biggest state-based threat to Britain's economic security.